Hey guys, it's Linux Next here. In today's video, I wanted to go over what is new in GNOME 46, as I have been using GNOME 46 for about 2 days now, roughly since it came through the Arch repositories, and I wanted to show you guys the new wallpapers, the new features in the Nautilus file manager, some new features in the GNOME software, and just overall how GNOME 46 as a whole is just almost like perfecting what is already there in GNOME. But of course, before this video starts, here is a word from our great sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Proton VPN, one of the most secure and private VPNs in the world with over 4.1 thousand servers in 88 countries. Try it out for free to see if you like everything it's got to offer with its Net Shield ad blocker, kill switch if something goes wrong with your VPN. Proton VPN also has its browser extension if you don't want the client on your desktop. And of course, Proton VPN supports Android, Windows, macOS, even Linux, the operating system I use. Pay $10 a month with a 30-day back guarantee if you're not satisfied. Also, Proton VPN offers Proton Mail, one of my favorite mailing applications that protects your emails with end-to-end encryption, so no one can read them. Proton VPN also recently released their Proton Mail desktop application, so you can read your emails on your desktop easily. Proton Mail's desktop also supports Windows, macOS, and Linux. I've also been using Proton Mail desktop application on Linux, and it runs awesome on my Arch system. And as an alternative to storage, Proton VPN offers Proton Drive, a end-to-end encrypted open source storage with Swiss laws applied, so your files are protected. Get started with 5 GB of free cloud storage, or pay just $4 a month for 200 GB of storage, $10 a month for 500 GB of storage with Proton's ecosystem, which includes Proton Mail, Proton Calendar, Proton VPN, and Proton Pass. Or just for $24 a month, you can get 3 TB of storage with Proton's ecosystem included as well on top of that. If you really want to try what Proton VPN has to offer, go to the link in the description and sign up today. So one of the new things that you might already notice is the new wallpapers that they have made. So here's the first one. I do like it. It has some nice shapes and it's very like contrasty, very cool. Well, if you do go to settings here and we go to our appearance, we can have a look at all of the new wallpapers. So probably my favorite is this one, specifically the purple bluish red one version, which is the night mode. It looks very nice. But if we have a look here, we have another one like this one. We also have this one. We have this one. And then we have this one, and then we have this one. So overall, I think these wallpapers do look really cool. They all also go through light and dark mode. So depending on if you want to set it to, at a certain time, it will turn to dark mode or light mode, depending on the time. Or you can just turn it on to dark mode, manually like I do, and it will just always be on the dark mode version. Now, one of the main things that you might have noticed is the Nautilus getting a refresh, or not a refresh, just a bunch of new features that have been added to it. One that you might see already is a search everywhere icon at the top left of it, and we can click on this and basically you can find files and folders in all search locations. Now it says all search locations, but it's only if the search fails. So if you're searching something and then it can't find what you're looking for, there a button appears and then it will say for you to search everywhere. So by default it actually only has access to basically your whole home folder for you to search, but if you do click this search settings icon here, it will bring up different options to add. So we can add these custom locations where I've added the root directory. So when you search something, it will search through the root directory. But not just that, if you want to quick launch this, you do Control-Shift-F as a shortcut. I'm guessing if we do Control-Shift-F, no, we'd have to do it in Nautilus, I'm guessing. Control-Shift-F. There you go. That's a quick way of doing the search everywhere. And not just with the search everywhere, button at the top left, Nautilus as a whole has gotten so many new improvements when it comes to the speed of how fast things search, and just like overall, just using it feels a lot more smoother now. And with that, if you do like, let's say we want to move a bunch of pictures, for example, let's go to our upscale folder. This is where I have like really high quality wallpapers that I've upscaled through the upscaler application. And let's say we copy this and then we put it over in our downloads folder. Then a new little progress should show up on the bottom left, as you can see here, which I do like it a lot. I mean, like, it's in the bottom left. I mean, it's a good place to put it. The place where it was before was at like the top right, I think, or top left. I preferred it to be at the top left, but it's really whatever. But the actual design of it, the new little progress wheel, and then you can expand it and show the progress, plus probably shows other things like the progress if something's really big, so it'll show like the speed. So overall, that is really nice to see. And one of the other new improvements to the files manager is that you can now favorite specific files. So as we can see here, we have a starred favorite picture. If you want to do it, all you have to do is click on the properties and then click the star icon, as it does a nice little animation, which is pretty cool, I guess. And yeah, it's just a really nice addition to Nautilus. And if you want to discover more networks now you can in Nautilus. So like more in general, more networks are supported. Like example, if you have like a OneDrive, that is supported now in Nautilus, and in the GNOME settings to actually add a OneDrive account, you can actually do that now, which I'll go over further in the video. But like I said, Nautilus now, you can add a bunch of different like networks, more gets discovered, and so just another nice little improvement. So like I said before, OneDrive is now supported in GNOME, specifically in Nautilus and the GNOME settings for actually adding the account. So if you want to add a OneDrive account, you go to the Microsoft 365 and you add your client ID, the issuer, which is common. You can do custom as well, and then you would put in the actual issuer. And after the Microsoft 365 account is added, you can then just go to your Nautilus file manager and you can easily grab your files on OneDrive. And I didn't actually know this, like GNOME actually had a remote desktop, but in the new release of GNOME 46, they decided to, one, add it to the GNOME settings, and two, just do a big redesign of how it works. So now if we go to our system here and then we go into this new panel and we go to remote desktop, we can now actually start desktop sharing or do a remote control, and then we can look at how to connect, use a remote desktop app to connect using the RDP protocol. Additional information about the device network location may also be required. So you put in the host name, port, and then the login details to actually gain access, for someone to gain access to your computer, a type of desktop sharing. Or we can do it the other way around, where it's a remote login, so you can remotely connect to your user account when it isn't being used. Display resolution can be set from this remote, so if you're like far away and you want to do a remote login, you can also do that. And like I said before, with this new panel here, this is one new thing in the GNOME settings, and just in general, GNOME settings has gotten a minimal refresh, so a bunch of pages have been shifted around. This one's been added, and there's also, date and time has been moved here. I'm pretty sure region and language, users, secure shell have all been moved here, and then we've got the about section. But in general, there's been a lot of things that have been moved around. Some new icons, like example, this is a new sound icon, this is a new display icon, pretty sure that's a new multitasking icon. Overall, there's been a lot that has been done. And if we do go to like apps, for example, this also got a nice little refresh where you can now click on default apps to select the default app for either be a browser, a calendar, music, video, photos. You can also do automatically launch apps, start apps when media is connected or inserted. So like, you can change this of what a CD audio should do. And then also we got like, you can browse all the applications and then look at their permissions, obviously, for all that type of stuff. Now, one thing I can't look at is the touchpad settings that have been revamped, as I am on a desktop PC. But from my notes, what I put down, it says here that the touch settings have been expanded for GNOME 46 with two new settings. The first, called secondary click, provides configuration for how secondary clicks, often called right click, are performed with a touchpad, and includes options to use either two fingers on the pad or to click in the corner of pad. And then the second new setting allows the disabled touchpad while typing behavior to be turned off. So that's really cool. So if you're typing and let's say you accidentally touch your touchpad, it won't, your cursor won't move because you've got it disabled while you're typing, which is really cool. And then also also doing this allows touchpad movement to be combined with key presses, which can be necessary for some apps and games. So with all the other features that I mentioned before in the settings application, there's actually just been a huge polish, as you could see, and as I've mentioned with these features, overall the settings apps has gotten a really good cleanup once again, even though the GNOME settings application was already really clean and thought out, I would say, versus like KDE Plasma. Even though KDE Plasma 6 does have a good settings page now, it's actually pretty damn good. But, you know, in the past, Plasma wasn't really the greatest at, you know, the settings application. But back to what I was saying, you know, there's been tons of polish improvements, like the improved setting descriptions and tooltips. So now, you know, just reading things make a lot more sense, either it being maybe the words are a bit shorter, and then also with like the tooltips, they're just a lot more easier. Now, one thing that did get improved was the appearance setting, and I do agree it is a lot faster. As they stated, it is a lot faster and it has sharper previews. But when I add a bunch of pictures, let's say I want to add my whole upscale folder, wherever the hell that is. So let's say we got our upscale folder here and we want to bring in literally every single like picture in here, just because, you know, like there's some really good wallpapers in here that I would like to use on my desktop. So let's just add these for example, right? One, I'm scrolling right now and it's currently frozen, still frozen by the way, and there we go. Now settings are saying that it's not responding anymore. So we have to wait, and that will come up again. Usually what will happen is I'll just let the not responding window just stay there, and I'll just wait for the settings appearance to load. And this is a common issue, and I don't know why oh, there we go, the settings app just crashed. Well, that's really cool to see. One thing in general with the appearance, oh there you go, it fully loaded, that's good, is that just the appearance decides to do that, where it's really just slow. It takes minutes to load all of these wallpapers when it's an easy fix where they can just downscale these images and then the problem would mostly be solved. Instead of trying to make the images sharper, I don't know what they mean by sharper previews, if they downscaled the images and then they sharpened them, or if they left the images as they is and then sharpened them. It's really confusing because like, I don't know if the developers don't have high quality images, because these are like hundreds of megabytes files, each hundreds of megabytes in size, and the appearance decides to take like minutes to load. Now, I know it's only minutes, but versus another desktop environment like KDE Plasma, which doesn't take minutes to load these, it actually adds it, and then it actually then downscales the image, and then when it's actually finished, then that's it. It's already loaded. It's already cached. And then even before that, it actually adds it, and it will just be white. And you can click on, you can apply it, and it will apply the right wallpaper before it even actually caches the image in the settings application for you in the wallpaper section. So, and then also, if a new user, you know, arrives and tries out the appearance application, and then they notice that it's really laggy and just takes a while to load their wallpapers, they're going to be pretty unimpressed, I would say, with just the wallpaper section. It will be something that they'll point out to other people when moving over to a, you know, the GNOME desktop on a Linux distro. It's like, oh, well, my wallpapers take a while to load in the appearance thing, and sometimes even GNOME settings comes up as not responding, and then sometimes even GNOME settings crashes. If there's any GNOME developers watching this video, maybe you guys could have a re-look at the appearance page and just see if there's anything you can do to improve this, as other desktop environments do load backgrounds a lot more faster in their settings application. So hopefully this can get improved, as I've just dealt with this for a while, and that's why maybe that's one reason why I'm on KDE Plasma. It's just overall when it comes to loading different things, KDE Plasma seems to be on par with that. And also there is a new sleep mode feature that has been added. This much requested feature allows users to temporarily disable Orca using the Control-Alt-Shift-Q shortcut. Sleep mode is useful when using virtual machines that have their own screen readers as well as self-voicing applications. So that's really cool. If you want to temporarily disable Orca, you can do Control-Shift-Q. I'm not going to do that because it's going to put my computer to sleep mode, I'm guessing, because it's called a new sleep mode feature. But that's really cool that it's been added. We can also see something where if you don't have a avatar picture applied, it supposedly enables some new avatar images that are like supposedly beautiful. I can't find them though, and it doesn't apply it to my avatar in the user accounts. The one that it usually applies is if we go to system and then we go to users, I've got this one applied, which looks really pixelated at the moment. It doesn't look like that in KDE Plasma. It's really sharp, but if I remove this, it just shows up with the letter of my username. So I don't know, if anyone else could comment down below about the profile picture where that's gone. That would be awesome. Now, one more thing that they decided to improve was enhanced notifications. So now if we go to notifications, I don't have any notifications at the moment, but when notifications do come through, one is that whatever application that notification is, it's a monotone black and white logo now of that application. So that's really nice. And then you can also expand the notifications to, let's say you want to reply to someone. Let's say you get a Discord notification, you can go to here and then you can probably reply to them, I'm guessing. Or if you're in like a Slack group or something like that and someone sends a message, you should be able to reply to it if, like that application supports it. And probably one of the greatest features that have been enabled by default is tap to click, which, I mean, that's cool that tap to click has been enabled by default. So if you have a laptop and you have a touchpad, most people do like to do a tap to click, and to enable it, you would just need to go into your settings to enable it. But it's really good that now it's just enabled by default. So now it's time to look at the GNOME applications that have been improved in GNOME 46. The first one is the GNOME software store. And one of the little features that have been improved is if you go to a application on FlatHub, on here, let's say Discord, for example, it will now show a verified badge saying that this developer who publishes this application is verified, so you can trust it. And you can also go to the preference tab, which has been changed here. It's been reordered around, and it also has a only show verified developers toggle. So now you will only show applications from developers whose identity has been verified, which is verified by the FlatHub maintainers. Now, one of the other applications that have been improved, which I don't personally use that much, as there's better alternatives to using a map application, but the GNOME Maps has gotten a pretty decent update with improvements to the OpenStreetMap, and also you can now enable the experimental map, which includes a dark mode, which is awesome to see if it wants to load. I don't know what it's doing right now. Maybe I just need to reopen it. Nope. Okay, it's actually working. As you can see, it is now in dark mode, so my eyes no longer bleed when I am looking at this, which is really good to see. And there's been some other improvements like routing improvements. As if you set a route, it will be greatly improved of what route it takes, I guess. And just in general, the user interface has been updated. I'm pretty sure this was like GTK 3, and now you can see here it's like GTK 4, which looks amazing. It says here that the information about multiple floors is now shown for points of interest that have them. They also have expanded public transit routing that is now available in Norway. I know that it's not available in Australia, so I can't actually do any of that stuff. But even just like clicking on here, we can look at Portland. It will show directions. If we do directions, and then we'll say like we live in Melbourne, for example, and then we'll do it by walk. And as you can see here, it's now set up a a direction, a route of where to go to get to Portland, which is really cool. And I definitely do like the graphics here. If we switch it to like bike, it will show the estimated time. It would take 22 hours to go from Melbourne to Portland, so that's a very far distance. But if you say here like Ballarat, for example, and we do it from Melbourne again, let's say the North Melbourne Pool, for some reason, we could take a car. That would take an hour and 17 minutes, and it even shows directions. Like up here, it says continue onto Arden Street, turn left on Lloyd Street, turn right onto Dynon Road. And it will just show you the way to go, which is really cool to see that they've improved this really well. So one of the other applications that did get redesigned was the GNOME Extensions app. Now, I personally don't use the GNOME Extensions app. I usually use the Extension Manager application, which is not maintained by GNOME, I don't think, which it just has a lot more utility, as you can actually download and install extensions really easily through their browse section. And then it already had this similar similar look where you can just easily toggle on and off, and it actually does disable extensions for you as well, which I'm pretty sure is actually done by the GNOME extension application. But GNOME extensions itself has gotten a redesign, and it's just a cleaner list with the GTK4 design, and just easy toggles, and a little option here which tells you that this extension won't work on GNOME 46. It needs to be updated. So overall, the GNOME extension application is really good. Now, one of the other applications that did get a redesign was the GNOME calendar. It has gotten a redesign. It's gotten a modernized interface and a bunch of performance improvements. So if we do look at this, I don't use the calendar really that much. I'm not really a person who likes to plan things ahead of time necessarily. I usually do that on my phone if I'm gonna plan something, but maybe I should start using these FOSS applications, as they are getting extremely good when it comes to the UI experience and planning things in general. But I will show up a screenshot of what GNOME calendar used to look like on GTK3 back in I think it's like 2016 or 2018 to this now. So I'll show a screenshot and then show the old one, and I'll show this one, and you guys can compare the differences. Overall, it's gotten a really big update. So we can see here, we can create a new event. We can do personal or birthdays and anniversaries. We name the title, the location, the day, starts today, ends today, repeats if you wanted to repeat daily, Monday to Friday, weekly, monthly, yearly. So I guess one thing that I've been doing is brushing my teeth, as it's something that I haven't been doing, and so I marked a reminder every day to do it, because I always just hop out of bed and instantly go and do other things, and I always forget to brush my teeth. So I marked it down as a reminder. So this could be a good application if you want to mark different reminders or things and events that are just happening. So one of the other applications that did get redesigned was the GNOME clock, as you got a new quick start timer, which is really good to see. So now you can quickly start a timer, just like it's here, like 30 minutes, for example, and boom, it starts a 30-minute counter for you. So you don't have to enter it in manually anymore. You can just do these quick start ones, unless you want to do a specific timer that is still available. You can still change this and then click start, and that all works properly. But overall, it's a clock. It's really easy. You can add a world clock if you want to, of like Melbourne if you want to. That it'll show the Pacific time, which is 2:58 a.m. That is correct. It is 2:58 a.m. here. And yeah, the GNOME clock, really good to see that it also got a a little refresh for GNOME 46. And one of the other applications that did get set up is one of the other applications that did get a refresh was the contactation. It also got a multiple vCard files can now be imported at the same time, and when importing a new contact, the confirmation dialog will also helpfully preview the names of the contacts to import. So that's really good if you want to import contacts really quickly now with a specific type of file format. You can easily do that. I don't really have any, so like you see here, there is none here, but if you were to import from file, you could easily find a vCard file and import all your contacts, and easily change each one to whichever one you need to import properly. And one little thing that got added was the system monitor. So now if we go to our resources page, we can now look at our disk. Wow, that's really cool. And also it is in GTK4 now. Before it had an older GTK3 header, so it was kind of a bit out of place when it came to all the other GNOME applications, but it finally did get a little refresh, and I do hope that GNOME keeps updating this, because there is a lot of things missing in this system monitor, and it's honestly, way things are ordered are a bit just too simple. There should be other categories, for example, if I show a really good application called resources, this is one application that you can check to see your processors, memory, GPU. That's something that isn't available in here. Well, we can go here, we can see our GPU usage right now. You can see we are encoding, because we're encoding on OBS Studio right now. I just really hope that the GNOME developers, they continue to improve this application, and they update some of these icons, and just do a really good deep dive into what they actually want to do with this, as I know there's probably a lot of GNOME developers that just go through the terminal to look at a system monitor, but there's a lot of new users who I don't think would want to use this system monitor, because it's a bit confusing of what the hell half of these applications even mean. Even myself, I don't know what the what the hell is GVFSD? A new user wouldn't even know what the hell that is. Now, of course, they can search that up, but an application like resources, for example, shows an application category, which is a lot more simpler to understand. And then if you want to look into actual processes, you can go onto the processes page. So I feel like if they implemented something like that, either way had the way Windows does it, where it like stacks icons into a category, or it does like on resources where it has a processes and then it has a application, that would be really good to see. Now I have talked about performance improvements in multiple different applications like settings, Nautilus, but in general, the performance on GNOME has been uplifted even more. So now performance and resource usage improvements, including reduced memory usage for search, like I said before, enhanced screen recording performance. So now I'm pretty sure it will use your GPU for recording. So now if let's say we do this and then we do screen and then we do record, we can see here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a dialogue here where we can click record and it should be able to record with our GPU now. It also says here that there's more intelligent use of system resources by the image viewer application. There's also been significant speed improvements in GNOME's terminals. So that's really good to see. They're just little minimal improvements to make the experience more better for the user. Also, security improvements, including enhanced protection from malware in the image viewer application and GNOME search technology. So I didn't know that actually like malware was a thing in the new image viewer application. So that's really good that they patched that up. That makes security a lot more better on the GNOME desktop. And one of the last features that has been waiting ages to be approved and merged, and there's been so much talk about it in the merge request, is the VRR being implemented in GNOME 46. And it's finally here. Now, to actually activate this is a experimental mode in GNOME, specifically GNOME 46. So if you do want to enable it, you do have to copy this command that I'll link down below. And it's a gsetting command that will enable the experimental feature for VRR. So if we open up our console and we, like I said, copy and paste that command in the description, and then we click enter, it will then be applied. So then all you have to do is log out of your desktop, log back in, and then when we go to our settings and we go to display and we go pick on a monitor that does have a variable refresh rate, like I have FreeSync Premium, we can see here that I've already got it enabled. You just click this to expand it, and then there's a variable refresh rate toggle, and then you can select your highest refresh rate, and then it will tell you specifically the range of this variable refresh rate. So it runs from 30 to 143.98, basically 144 hertz. And my overall experience with VR has been really good. It's basically the exact same experience that I get with the KDE Plasma under Wayland on VR, the exact same experience, except how the cursor behaves. Now I know this is an experimental feature, but I'm still going to point out some of the issues that it has. So if you watch like a YouTube video, for example, and you full screen it, basically your cursor will act as a FPS to the video. So if you move your cursor around really fast, the FPS will like stutter. And this actually happened in the KDE Plasma 6 beta, where if you had a game open and it was full screened and you moved your cursor around, for example, I play the finals, that was happening on the beta version of Plasma 6. And the KDE developers decided to fix that as they just changed the behavior of how that happens to like turn it off so like it doesn't interfere with the game FPS. But specifically on GNOME, it happens in YouTube videos. If you're watching a video that's full screened, or in a game like New World, for example, and you're in like dialogues and you're moving your cursor around, it will actually affect the FPS. So I don't know if you can see this, but the video is stuttering, and my mouse cursor is also stuttering. The more I flick it faster, the more the video will just stutter. And it's just really odd that how that works. I forgot how it actually works with the cursor, but I remember reading it and it made sense to me at the time, but I can't remember how it actually works. But hopefully they do fix that problem. But besides that, there is literally no other issues, and it's an awesome experience using VR on Wayland, as the latency goes down a lot when it comes to your FPS and your refresh rate, and things not being mailboxed to your like a VSync mailbox to the FPS, so that you can get a really good, just responsive experience when playing your games. And now it's time to look at the issues with GNOME 46, or more just issues with GNOME in general. So the first one I'm going to mention, which you might have seen in the video, you might go, what's that white line on the top left? And that's not actually a recording's fault. That's GNOME's fault. For some reason, there is a white line right here, and I don't know why this is caused. If someone could comment down below what causes this and what specifically the fix is, even though I'm going to move back to KDE Plasma probably tomorrow. Just if anyone knows what the hell this is, comment down below. I would really like to know because it's just really just not annoying necessarily. It's just like, why is that there? Like, what's causing it? I would like to know. Also, things like Steam. Steam likes to freeze when you have your friends list open. So if you have the friends list dialog window open and animations are playing, like profile animations, the Steam client will actually freeze. And to fix that, you either close the friends list or you turn off the animations of your friends, like little, animations that happen on their profile. So that's really odd because that doesn't happen in KDE Plasma. And I was reading up on it and it was saying like when that happens, it's basically saying to the compositor that it should be going below 1 FPS. So basically like near 0 FPS. So because it's like not doing anything. So that's like something that, I don't know, either GNOME would have to fix or Steam would have to fix something to tell the compositor that, hey, I'm still working here, don't freeze me, type thing. But on KDE Plasma, like this doesn't occur. So hopefully that gets fixed. So one of the other things that I would like to have in GNOME that it already is implemented in GNOME, just in a way that isn't really accessible necessarily. It's kind of the way that Windows does it, where if you want to like mute an application, you have to go to your GNOME settings, go to sound, and then go to the volume levels to mute a game, for example, or music, let's say like a video player or a browser, or whatever it may be, to mute or lower it. And in KDE Plasma, you can just do it on your panel, where you can just bring up the sound, go to applications, and then mute the application really easy. It's a really easy thing to do. So I wish that, GNOME did implement that, as it's a really good, nice feature that easily makes it accessible. And I know that the quick settings, there already is a lot of things made in this little window. So like you can't really fit that much more into it, but maybe adding it to like another separate button. It's really hard to add a feature like that. I would understand that would, put a lot more toggles on the top bar, and it would just make it really, I guess you could say, full in a sense. The panel would just be really full, and some people don't like that. They like how, GNOME's very minimal and it's specific things that they think would be useful for quick settings. But if there was some way to add, a built-in audio to mute an application easily without having to go into the GNOME sound settings, that would be really cool. And this one's not really just an issue. This is just me not preferring the GNOME desktop in the way that it behaves. So like, you press the super key to open up like an overview with a dock that's in the background, which I personally don't really like. I like seeing my applications in the foreground, in the present, so I can actually see it. But I do understand that lots of people like this. And of course, whenever I used GNOME, I would just install extensions to add a like dock to panel extension to just remove that feature so I can actually see my applications. And I know you can do that, but this is why I like KDE Plasma, because all those things are just pre-installed. But if you do like, the basic vanilla GNOME experience, that's awesome. All the more power to you. And my last issue with GNOME that I wish they did change it, this is probably just a design decision, and this probably has been thought out a lot, is that when you have apps, let's say on a second screen, for example, if I can put this on my second screen, because it doesn't want to, for some reason, it doesn't want to move over. Can you please move over? Oh my god, come on, please move over. Well, okay, what I was going to talk about was if you move an application to your second screen, there'll be a little, gap of an application that should be there. And I would like if you have like so many applications that it would just reorder itself to be a full page like this. So if we can really want to do this, I really want to move a folder over here, but it just will not do it. But yeah, I would like that be a feature if it would just reorder itself. And I know that's just a design decision because it would probably just give the user more just design decision for themselves to put applications wherever the hell they want necessarily. But it's just a bit odd that there's like gaps in specific pages and then if you want to clear out a page, you have to move all the applications off that page. Even if there's one application on that page, it will not reorder it. You have to move that application to actually move the whole order together, which is really odd. So I wish that was fixed, or not fixed, just changed maybe, or proposed, even though I'm not going to use GNOME. There's just one gripe that I have with the app drawer. And the other one is like gaming on GNOME. How has that been? Well, with VRR on Wayland, I've been able to play all the games that I can think of, like New World, The Finals, Battlefield, all those games games have been running great under GNOME with the VRR enabled on Wayland. There's been no issues. I'm running on AMD, so someone may have issues on NVIDIA under Wayland, but you know, on specifically under an AMD GPU, and it has been running really well under, you know, Endeavour OS with kernel 6.8.1 and Mesa 24. So with the conclusion of GNOME 46, I think it is a refinement, just perfecting what's already there and making it more fast, improving little toggles, putting new things in some applications, making things just a bit more easier for the user. So if you guys did enjoy this video, I would definitely give it a like, and you can obviously subscribe to the channel. I don't really care that much necessarily. We are at like almost 3.5k subscribers, which is just truly insane. And of course, thank you to my supporters that do support the channel of some of the content that I do. I'll show a screenshot up of them. And I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Proton VPN. They have a wide suite of applications that you can choose from, like the VPN, the mailing application, the drive application, and some other ones that they have. So that does it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.